All right, brother. We are excited to learn from you today, man. Why don't you just start off, give us some of your background? Because I know you've had your hands in your life in all kinds of cool stuff. So give us a background and we'll dive into the whole idea of becoming a man.
Yeah, well, I guess, to talk about now, you got to start at the beginning. So, Baltimore native, 50 years young. Grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Was pretty much voluntold to join the Navy. College wasn't going good for me. Abusive relationship at home. Joined the Navy. Was told I was never going to amount to anything. Screw you. Sorry, I wanted to show everybody that I was destined for more, which I'll talk about. For the longest time, I was doing things to prove people wrong. Now, with the growth of who I am now, I do things to prove myself right. Served 12 years in the military, 14 years working with the government agency world. Met my beautiful wife, who I have no business being with. I got her tattooed on my arm. That's my prenup. So she stuck with me. Love you, baby. And now I have the pleasure of being business partners with Bedros Keuilian in 3 businesses, which is the project, the 75-hour kick in the butt, which we talked about ahead of time. The LTD, which is leadership team development training, which is our corporate training that we do. A PG version, the professional version of what we do with the project.
Nice.
And then my passion project. I told you I have Fox News talking to me right now. Is the father-son program. My father was murdered when I was 11.
Wow.
And we throw these words in society around a lot, and that is toxic and masculinity. And I don't think there are toxic masculine men. I just think there's toxic men because I feel like I'm a masculine man, but I treat women with respect. I don't raise my voice, right?
Same.
But if you disrespect my queen or my princess, then I will become toxic, but not because I'm a masculine man, but because I am the protector of my home.
Which may not even be toxic. It's just like, that's the right thing to do when you cross a boundary, dude.
I will turn from friendly to fierce. Anything, right? I'm the kid. The lion, right? The lioness runs the pack. We know this. The wife runs it. I love you, Trish. That's my wife. But as I've said before, and I've gotten some grief from this too, right? Is if someone were to break into my home, we have roles in our house. My wife knows her roles when I'm home and when I'm not home. And my daughter does. And my son, who is now 28, if he visits, he knows his roles. And if someone breaks into my home, my wife is behind me, right? And I'm going to go take care of things. She's not beside me. She's not in front of me. Now, I know that with every good man, there's a great woman who is beside or in front of him. But there are roles and responsibilities, and my wife accepts that role and responsibility.
Same.
And I am the protector of the home. So if you mess with me and what's mine, I will flip that switch and become that ferocious beast that with the training. But here's the difference. You don't have to be a Navy SEAL to do that. Any man that loves his family and loves what his family represents will do that. Now, if you're married to a world-class pistol shot who's a female,
let her up front.
Let her go. But,
go, babe.
But, my wife has her roles, and she educates and teaches my daughter things that I have no business doing. So I stay in my lane. She stays in her lane. But she is proficient with a gun, and so is my daughter. So if I'm not there, then my wife will step up into that role. Because that's the biggest fear a man has, is being on the road and something happening when he's not there to protect his tribe. That's like, people ask me, what do you fear? That
exactly.
So, but what do I do as a man, as a masculine man? I train the females. I train anybody in my life, in my family, how to protect themselves to the best of their ability. Of course.
Same. We're training our kids. And I think you're spot on, brother. There is a time to be dangerous as men.
Yes.
And I think every man, I don't know, maybe this is too bold, but maybe every man ought to have that switch. When somebody brings a fight to your doorstep, like they're going to get answered with a fight, right? If they cross the line, if they push too far, there has to be a response. And I don't find that to be toxic. I find that to be a good thing to keep malice and malevolence at bay.
I think, and again, I know I'm going to get grief for this. So I think every male is born with that switch.
I agree.
But society, things weigh down on it where they don't want to flip it. Society and identity issues and this and political. That's not me. Like, I know what my role is. Like, perfect example. I can barely change a light bulb, but that's not my strength, right? I'm not mechanically inclined. But if you put a gun in my hand and I have to protect my house, I will clear that house with the best of them.
Yep.
I will do everything in my power at all costs. And I want to make that very clear, at any cost,
right,
to protect what is mine. The rules of, you hear the rules now. If someone breaks in your house and you have a 2-story house, just tell them, hey, take whatever you want. It's not, and then leave. No, no, I work hard for what I have. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She has the toughest job in the world. Making money is easy compared to being a stay-at-home mom. So I'm not going to let someone disrespect all the hard work that not only I, but my wife has put into. I mean, seriously, your house looks beautiful. My wife decorates the house. I don't. I don't have the decorating skills. She does all that. Like, hon, okay. Like, I don't care. So I, as a man, it's my job to go down and protect what she has done. You know what I mean? And everybody's like, oh, that can be replaced. It can be, but the effort and the time that my wife put into creating this atmosphere, because a home is an atmosphere, right? It's, you walk into someone's house and you kind of get a feel for who they are from their home. We have a beautiful home. And that's not because I make decent money. It's because my wife's really good at getting the right stuff or hiring or whatever she does. I don't care. That's not my role. Here, make the house look beautiful. I'll go work more. Make sure our daughter goes to the great school and does, I just think if people stayed in their lane more,
yes,
and understood what their roles and responsibilities were. I'm not saying I don't go into her lane at times and she doesn't come to my lanes at times, but I have a 14-year-old daughter who's going through things. Ooh, that's not my lane, man. Now, if my wife wasn't a part of my life, or she was taken from me in some, God forbid, then yes, I would step up and do that.
Responsibility, exactly.
But right now, I don't need to. I don't concern. I know that mom's taking care of her. So
let's dive into that a little bit, brother, because I know, like, you and I get to do coaching, we get to work with people, and some couples really struggle with that. My wife and I have the same agreement. It's like we've talked through and chosen. I feel like we're very equally yoked, so to speak. We're just in this together, but we have our roles. Yes. And how did you guys get to that? Is it a lot of talking, a lot of work, was there some stepping on the toes? Like, how do you get to this place where you both just feel really comfortable? And because I know a little bit about you, I know you're chasing mastery, and I'm assuming your wife's driven too.
She's worse. She's worse. She's worse. She's a beast.
You guys are going to have a role and you're going to do it with excellence. How do you get there?
Well, I mean, obviously communication is transmitting and receiving, right? We try to do the line of sight communication, right? I'm not vectoring, I'm not bouncing. When I speak to my wife about things that are critical in the family role, that's not with a phone, that's not with an email, that's not with body language, that's man looking at woman, talking in a controlled environment, phones off, and letting her know that there's no other place on earth I'd rather be, because this is very important. That's number one. How did we get where we are? A lot of trial and error, a lot of me messing up doing things. Can be completely honest with you. Well, I hope she doesn't listen to this one. My daughter was like 3 or 4 days old, and it was like hell week all over again. I was tired. I was running up and down the stairs. My parents were there, and I don't know, she had me going up and down stairs. And ladies, if you're listening, I apologize. And ever since that, I'm going to get die for this. But my wife said, hey, go back down and get this. And I said, why don't you go down and get it? Being a stay-at-home mom is not a real job. So, okay. Now, people say that takes some real cojones to say. And the reason why I say it is, since the day that happened, and I mean, there were some ramifications, believe me, I have gotten up every day since then and said, thank you for being a stay-at-home mom. Yes. I learned my lesson. She went, here, you watch her. And I was like, I wasn't thrown into the fire. The fire was thrown on me, man. It was like, holy crap. So I think the best way that you can do that is, number one, you need to understand that there are certain things as a man that we're just not good at. Like, we can get it done, right? I am chasing the art of being the mastery of everything, but
Yes.
I'm not going to be a subject matter expert in everything.
Yep.
So me and my wife have had a lot of dialogue. And what I like to do with my family, and we try to do this every Sunday, is we have an AAR, an after action report, on one thing. And just so you know, my daughter, her name's Nyla, she's 14. She's included in this.
Yes.
We don't talk about money in front of my daughter, but we will talk about how we can be better or worse. Now, if me and my wife had my daughter's at school and we have an argument about something, and let's say it got, when I say heated, we're bickering at each other, we're not going to discuss that in front of my daughter. But if I'm short because I've got a business deal, which I'm guilty of, and I've snipped a little bit, my daughter will say, hey, Daddy, I thought you always start with two things that you need to improve on. One thing that you did good, always end on a high note. Daddy, I noticed you kind of were a little snippy when you picked me up from here and here. I was hoping next week you couldn't do that. Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
But Daddy, even though you were super busy, because we always do daddy daughter. I do date night with my wife and daddy daughter night. Me and my daughter usually go to a Mexican restaurant. And there was a couple times where, like, we were doing daddy daughter date. Case in point, I gave her feedback too. She wanted to bring her friend. And I said, hey, listen, I don't mind bringing your friend, but don't count this as daddy daughter night when we're bringing your friend, because the phone, right? Just so you know, dads, this isn't spending time with your daughter.
Exactly.
This is like, I have a special ringtone for my wife and Bedros and my other business partner, Steve. Other than that, the Pope could call and I'm not picking up when I'm doing that. But I was not always like that. That's what I got a lot of my AR. Daddy, when you're at the dinner table, you're on your phone.
Boom.
There it is.
Game changer right there.
Game changer. We'll turn off the TV or we'll turn on music. What we do now, like things we do, is we'll put on that, Alexa, play this song. And while we're eating, we're singing. Like, we're doing things as a family. I try to use technology to my advantage, where a lot of people, like, this is a crutch, but Alexa, play one of our favorite songs, Islands in the Stream. The three of us sing. I do Kenny Rogers, they do Dolly Parton.
Yes.
And what are we doing with that? We're creating this amazing thing called a memory, right?
Exactly.
And that just goes into the book, right? This is the photograph book or the memory book here. And that's what I want my daughter to remember. And that's what I want her doing. Hopefully she'll meet that same kind of man that'll give her that love and attention. And then they'll be doing that with my grandkids, right?
Exactly. You're setting the standard for an awesome family.
Exactly. Yeah. Family environment. It's key. It's crucial.
I love it. Beautiful, brother. Hey, I want to circle back to something you said early on, like right from the get-go, you just had this thing about, like, they were saying that you weren't going to make it. Like, why didn't you just believe them? Like, what made the difference, man? Like, why didn't you just, because I was at a point, like, so I ended up out on my own at 16 as well. And there was a couple point where people just would say stuff and I was like, yeah, tell me something I don't know. Right. I was in a low mental state where I just believed it. I got out of it where you did. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to prove wrong. And then I'm going to prove myself right. What was it that drove you early on, man?
Well, I think it was a culmination of things. A lot of my friends were getting in trouble. I was doing roofing growing up. I was doing a lot of bad things, drinking and drugs. That was a different time. I'm 50 years old. We didn't have, nothing was filmed. Nothing was, you got away with anything back in the day, and I remember it was just, like I said, it was, I grew up doing roofing and I would save my money and I had a car, and I'll never forget, like, we had like a month of rain. Like, I can't control the rain, but I can't get up on the roof when it rains. And, someone in my family, doesn't matter who it is. And I always paid my car on time. And there was going to be like a month where I couldn't. Back then it was like $100 some. And I got a bunch of grief. Oh, you need to join the military because you can't make it and blah, blah, blah. And, to be quite honest with you, sir, for the longest time, I did believe that. And, it's something that I do, that I coach now. I do a self-reflection drill, and I'll never forget. I came home from a bar in Towson, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast 2 months ago. I usually eat the same thing, so I do. But I came home and I was intoxicated, and I think I had smoked some weed, a dumb kid behind the wheel. And I looked in the mirror, and my father was murdered when I was 11, and he was a good man, but he had a lot of bad habits. We'll leave it at that. And when I looked in the mirror, I saw him. I didn't see me. And I didn't want to take that path because he was murdered. And I think a lot of the issues that stem with me and my mother is I remind my mother, I'm a spitting image of him. They had a very bad relationship. And I said, I can either go down the same corridor, the same path, or, I say, F it, F you. That's what I say to myself. F it. Like, listen, this is the hand you were dealt. Like I say it to myself, and then I say the F you, not to you, but to myself. Like, come on, Ray, you're better than this. Dig deeper, right? And that's where I come up with the attack the hill mantra, where I do everything different. And I was like, if they're telling me I can't do it, it's what I used to think of. The reason why I think there's the haters and the naysayers out there is because they tried it and it didn't work for them. Just because it didn't work for them, it doesn't mean it's not going to work for me. So my thing was, I said, screw it. Let's go balls to the wall and see what happens, right? Like, I'm going to join the Navy and I'm going to become a Navy SEAL. And everybody said, you can't do it. Okay, roger that. And truth be told, brother, I had to take the ASVAB test a total of 3 times just to get the mechanical, the combined score. Second time I took it, I missed it by one point.
Whoa.
1 point. And the difference between me doing it the second time and the third time is I just studied the second time. The third time, I asked the gentleman, I'll never forget him. His name was YN1 Conklin. He was worked a yeoman. And he said, I'm going to help you get some external classes, because he saw the drive that I had. And I remember this like it was yesterday, but you had to wait a certain amount of time. So it was total like a year, and I took the test and I'm standing in front of him, right? I was an E2. He was an E6. He's doing his things, you don't know. You're standing there at attention. He's like, Seaman Apprentice Care. I'm like, hey, YN1, how do you think you did? And I'm sweating. Because this was my shot.
This was it.
And I said, I don't know. And he doesn't even look up at me. And he's like, I remember he's like reading something or writing something. He goes, you passed. And he said it so nonchalant, it was like surreal. He says, do you have any questions with me? And it was like, I was overwhelmed with emotion. I had tears coming out of my eyes because, man, I worked so friggin' hard for this. While everybody else was out drinking and chasing girls, I was knows the books. I wasn't a monk, right? But I was dedicated to what I need to be done. And he goes, you have any questions? And I said, yeah, Petty Officer Cochran. He looked up at me, and I'll never forget this. And I get emotional every time he says it. He goes, you want to know what your score is, don't you? Like, damn right I do. He goes, it doesn't. And this is what he told me. This is how I've lived my life ever since. And I love this guy. He goes, he looked at me, he took off his glasses. He goes, doesn't matter what your score is. It matters what you do with the score that you got from this moment forth.
Oh.
And I sat there for a minute. Part of me was like, gosh, damn it. What is my score? And he just looked at me, he goes, don't worry about the score. What are you going to do with the fact that you passed it? So I started with my BUDS class and I finished with my BUDS class. And that's what I try to teach everybody, right? Like, we talked about it. I have a book coming out. Oh, you're a Navy SEAL. I don't judge a man or a woman on these things. I don't judge people on their political views. Their race, their color. What I judge people on, what they've done, it's what they're doing right now. From the handshake, from the eye contact to, hey, what are you doing? Like when you get to know people, what are you doing? What are you doing for charity, right? I meet a lot of people at church. I'm starting to get into church. Kind of really liking that. What do you do in your spare time? How are you giving back to the community?
Yes.
And all this stuff, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't come up with this shit by myself. My boss taught me this, because when I got interviewed with Bedros Keuilian, number one, I showed up 3 hours early, because if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired. But he said, Ray, he said, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I opened up for him at a speaking event, and we really hit it off. And I said, well, sir, this was the job interview. Like he goes, I'm not worried about your resume, Ray. I know who you are. I can teach you anything. He goes, I said, well, I'm not the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. I'm not going to make you the most money. He goes, Ray, and he's big. He puts his hand on my shoulder. He goes, that's not how you start with me. I said, but no one will outwork me, be more loyal, or bring the lime and shovel. And he goes, you're hired. That was how I got hired. He goes, but I want to test you. And I said, okay. He goes, I want to ask you something. I want you to fill it in. And I want people to listen, because this is what society has done. This is society. This isn't my fault. He goes, all right, you ready? The topic is money. Okay, money. I like money. The more you make, the more I take. No. Okay, let's try it again. The more you make, the more I take. So after like 2 or 3 times of him going, no, I said, sir, I'm Irish. I'm 3 years older than you. I don't know what, if you keep asking me this question, I'm going to keep answering the same way. And this is what he says to me. He leans in, he goes, because you were kind of sitting, and he goes, Ray, it's the more you make, the more you give.
Yeah.
And I went, I don't understand. And he goes, of course you don't understand. You don't make enough money to.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what? He goes, let me teach you how to make enough money where, because a man, he himself, I mean, a man only needs so much, right? You know, I mean, I've got the truck of my dreams now. My wife has a giant ring. You know, we're investing, we're doing everything. And now we got to that point. He goes, okay, now, right now it's time to start giving more to the church. It's more, you know, breast cancer. It's so this. So, man, I stroke nice checks. And you know what I do now is I stroke these checks. And instead of me going up at a thing, my wife gets up there. She has no damn clue. And they're like, Miss Tricia, do you have that? She's like, yeah, yo. So, and I'm not going to lie to you. I got goosebumps. It feels good. Yeah. It feels so good. And I didn't believe him. And I after this happened, you know, I walked up to him and he goes, I know. Because he was with me when I gave like a 5,000, and that's not a lot compared to him, but 5,000 to me would be like 50 or 500 to him, but it felt good, you know, where you're not worried about things, or because, you know, I know everybody's like, you know, money is the root of all evils. No, it's not. Money doesn't even buy happiness. Money is a vessel for freedom to create. For me, it's time and opportunity to ... So my 3 dots are simply this: invest. My daughter goes to the school that my wife wants her to go to. And my wife is a stay-at-home mom. Like, she's the one like that drives my daughter to school every day. And like, I pick her up or do that. But for me, that's all I need. Right. So I don't need, you know, like Bedros, you know, he's a gazillionaire. He's like, listen, if you're worth $500 million, you got 500,000 problems. I'm like, or 500 million problems or whatever. I'm like, I'd be happy with like 1 million problems. Yeah. He's like, then let's do it, you know, but it's true with, you know, and that's what's so important that people need to understand is I don't live life for money. I live life for fulfillment, for impact, and to make a difference. And I know that's easier said now that I've kind of gotten much more comfortable when I've climbed up the ranks. I mean, in 3 years, I've tripled my income, but sons of bitches, I was working on Christmas. I work on New Year's, on vacations, you know,
to earn your spot.
So my point is, the whole, as I bring this to you know, the full circle is, number one, don't let anybody tell you you can't do anything. Number two, don't do things to prove people wrong. Do things to prove yourself right. Because when you look in that mirror, if you see all the other people yelling at you, you've got to look at yourself and say, we got this. And then number 3 is, the more you make, the more you give. And it doesn't even have to be with money. You know, the most precious thing that you can give somebody, I think, is time and advice, not opinions, advice. And I think once you start, I know that once you start doing that, people will be much more receptive, and people know when you really care about them, you know, like with the courses that I'm running. Even though it doesn't look like I care on social media, I do.
It looks like nobody wants to be there when you let it fly. Oh, that's awesome, brother. You said something there that was so profound. It's like you're crossing this threshold into an abundance mindset and abundance way of being.
Yes.
And I love to hear you say this. Like, once you get there, it is so much more fulfilling and rewarding.
It
Like the
just,
rewards of giving back are massive.
and I thought it was the corniest damn thing in the world when he said it to me. I won't lie to you. I mean, as God is my witness, when he said that, I was like, man, you are so full of shit. Your eyes are brown. I'm sorry, I did. I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever. Of course, that's what the rich guy says. But
Right.
he's right. You know, it's nice to, you know, like we used to give a certain amount at the church, and now we give a little bit more and a little bit more. And, you know, Pastor Hank, I got to give a shout out to Pastor Hank. You know, he was like, listen, Ray, I noticed that you've been giving some real generous donations. I said, yes, sir. He goes, just so happens I'm doing a sermon today on resiliency. And I said, that's awesome, sir. He goes, so I want you to do something else for me. I'm like, yes, sir. He goes, I'm running 2 30-minute, because he speaks for 30 minutes and they have the choir. I want you to do, you know, I do 22 push-ups on the minute every minute for 60 minutes. That's 1,320 push-ups. He goes, I want you to do that, cut that in half and do it for church as I'm speaking. And I'm
Wait,
like
during the sermon?
during the sermon,
Having you crank, yes.
and I was like, okay, well, put me in the back, and you know, I'll be quiet. Nope. I show up. There's a little like foot high stage right beside him with the lights shining over me. And what are you gonna do? Tell the pastor no?
Wow.
He was like, now you do know if you say no, I'm gonna, you know, he knows about my past. He goes, I'm gonna expedite you going south instead of north. I'm like, no, sir, I'll go. So he was joking, but man, it feels so good. Like my point is it's not, he didn't want the money. He wanted, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears. And it was huge. I mean, I actually, from that, Channel 3 News did a feature on me, my local news team, and I got Hero of the Month. And my wife was part of it. So she got on TV with me. So that was really cool, you know?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Man, I go off tangents, so you got.
No, this is awesome. This is what I'm talking about, and see behind the scenes, because we have to see the whole man, right? It's the whole package, because you know as well as I do, and anyone with yourself, your own experience and working with others, like you can't leave part of yourself undone.
Yeah.
Right, because you end up, you know, some form of atrophy, whether it's mental or emotional or spiritual or whatever, and you limp along, and this becomes this problem in your life, and it starts to show up. In fact, and this is a perfect time to switch. It's like, what are you seeing as the major problems men are facing, and what are the underlying causes? I mean, what's the issue, and how can we address it? I know that's a big, broad question, but I know you're in your own experience and the people you get to work with, like what's showing up, what's not working, and what's causing the problem?
Well, trying to, how can I political? Oh, that's a good question, but I know I got to answer the right way, so I don't want to get food off. You know, the problem I see with men is complacency in being a man.
Boom.
Too many men feel entitled or enabled, or like case in point, I get married, I'm gonna get a divorce. No, man, you work through it. You got a woman pregnant, you're not stepping up to the plate. You're sitting around when, you know, instead of trying to get a job collecting checks on other people's, you know, hard-earned money. And I know this is going to piss some people off. You know, you're living at home at 40.
Yeah.
It's just, and I could go on and on and on. Not being a positive role model for the community, not doing anything for the community. Here you go. Physical fitness, not taking care of yourself.
Yep.
I'm 50 years old, and I'm seeing men in their 20s that are 40 pounds overweight.
Yep.
And I just did an article for Muscle and Fitness, and I tell people, I will not apologize for being a fit male alpha. I won't do it. I will not apologize. And everybody's like, well, you know, like case in point, and I see it. Like I can wear something, it's worse with women. My wife's a very attractive woman, very small. She can wear a pretty sundress, very classy. And a woman who, I'm not being rude, who's a little more out of shape. Look at her. She don't work for it.
Right.
But I'll see some women and guys wearing shit that's totally inappropriate for their body type with a lot of skin. And society says, we can't say anything to them.
No, don't say anything about that.
And the thing to me is like, I had a guy the other day that came up to me and said, you know, I'm 6'1", 283 pounds. He's not muscle. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm a little overweight. I'm like, you're not overweight. you're fat. And he was like, he wanted to come to my course. And I was like, I need you under 240 pounds. You just can't do it. And he's like, I can't believe you called me fat. I'm like, well, maybe you need to hear this, right? I mean, I didn't say it publicly. And he called me back and he's like, he was in tears. And he's like, I appreciate that. I'm like, I'm not calling you that word because I'm being cruel. I'm calling you that word because number one, it's true. And number two, you told me for the last 6 months, you've ordered food out the whole time. Yep. You've been sitting in front of the computer because your job told you could stay home. Even though the job told him to go back, he chose to stay home.
Right.
So not only are you fat, you're lazy. And I think if more men were receptive to receive that kind of message, because man, listen, here's how it works, sir. If I'm messing up, tell me. Right now, if I'm messing up, situational awareness, right?
Right.
Case in point, here you go. The Squire program. Dad, you have a son. I see you dadding and I see something that I don't agree with. Now I could go, hey, sir, hey, that's a dumb thing you're doing in front of your son. No, yeah. Don't you ever. Or I could say, excuse me, sir, can you come over here for a second? Yeah. Hey, listen, here's the deal. Just so you know, I'm also a father. I'm 50 years old. How old are you, sir?
Me, 44.
Okay, good. Yeah. And I have a 28-year-old son, and with the course, your son's between the ages of 14 and 16. Good, got it. So here's what I see from an outside perspective. All I want you to do, Dad, is hear what I say, throw it in the dad tool bag, and when you need dad up, maybe try it.
Boom. Diplomacy.
Yeah, diplomacy. Thank you. Now, if I said that in front of you, if you pull me aside and said, hey, listen, I don't like what you're doing to your son in front of my son, I'd be like, you can go. And I think the world needs that. But there is a time to call a man out on this shit. I think more men need to be called out on the bull crap that they're doing. I don't know if that makes sense or not,
It's an awakening to the complacency you're talking about. And if it's done with diplomacy and tact, it's almost like just holding up a mirror and saying, hey, brother, look, honest talk here, man. The stories you've been telling yourself, the excuses you're making, just hold up a mirror here. Let's just own this. And break free from this complacency and the laziness and the excuses, and level up. Be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Everybody wants to be someone else, and I tell everybody. I just had a conversation with Bedros Koulian today. Like I drove his. We have matching trucks. Mine's a different color than his. I'm driving his truck back using the things. I said, I don't want to be you. I just want to be a better version of me. From learning from what you do. He's a good dad. He's a good this. He's good at what he does. I told him today, we had this conversation. I said, you're really intoxicating, right? He's like me. People are drawn to certain types, like a moth to a flame. Yeah. So I think I scored my wife. Ooh, score. And the thing, when the guy called me back, the one that I called fat, what's so important for everybody to understand is when he called me back, I think he flipped the switch mentally and emotionally and said, wow, this guy's right. I'm going to take ownership on this.
Yes.
So when he called me back, he was like, well, what do I do? Okay. So now the guy has owned up to his mistake. He's taking ownership on it. And now he's reaching out for help. So what did I do? I told him listen, this is what you need to do. I have this program. It's a 3-month program. Yes, it's another fee. You do this program. What I'll do is I'll take that off the thing for this, or just do the program for 3 months. Let's get you in shape. If you don't even want to do the big package, who cares? We got you 40 pounds lighter. Your heart's working better. You're gonna feel more confident in yourself. You're gonna live longer. And no offense, your wife's probably gonna like it too, because when I look at a male, you're in shape, you groomed, your hair looks good. It shows me that you ready for this word? It's a horrible word. Discipline.
Yeah.
And discipline is key. When I look at a fit man who takes care of himself, it's discipline, right? When I first dated my wife, I got the truck cleaned, right? Immaculate. She didn't come over right away, but I had a clean. I mean, my house was immaculate. Yeah. Because sometimes, you only have one shot. Yep. You only have one shot to make, and it's not even impressed to make it to impact. Yep. Wow, you have a clean house. Well, yeah, great. She's like, I thought you would just be a wild Navy SEAL ambassador. I had my eyes fixed on this one. So
Oh.
everything else was gone. I'm like,
Everything's in order, baby.
everything
Woo!
you come by anytime you want. There's nobody here. She started stopping by, and believe me, I mean, this is respectful. Boy, she made me wait for the prize, but boy, it was worth it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I courted her for months,
And
that's
how
what,
true is that for everything in life, brother?
look at this. I got Tim Kennedy of all people calling me right now.
Nice, nice.
Oh, I love it. And that's what's so important is men don't do it because you want it, do it because you need it.
Yeah.
I need to be a better man for my family. I need to be a better provider for my family. Almost cost, I get so emotional. And I need to be fit so I can live longer to make an impact on this earth.
Yes.
And the minute that men take responsibility and accountability for their actions, look in the mirror, do a self-reflection drill on your family, your fitness, your finances, and faith. Family, are you a good father, husband, son, whatever avenue of a man you are, right? Fitness, are you physically, mentally, emotionally strong?
Yep.
Fitness is three-dimensional. Finances, are you doing what you can? Are you, finances, are you living in the moment, right? I have my high risk, my medium risk, my safety stuff, right? Are you prepping for the future, right? As Tony Robbins said, winter is coming. Winter is here, brother.
It's here. It is
It's
here.
106 degrees where I'm at right now. And winter is here.
Yep.
And then faith. Faith doesn't have to be religion. We have to be careful with religion, right? We do.
But it's
my
spiritual.
faith, spiritual. What I do is I use team care. Team. Trust, effort, attitude, mission. Trust, you got to trust yourself, trust the ones you love, trust the process of what you guys are doing. Effort, don't give me 100%, give me every freaking thing you got 24/7. Attitude, nothing will open or close a door in this world, in life than a good or bad attitude. And then last is the mission. And mission is growth. There's 6 forms of growth: physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and financial.
Financial, yep.
You do
same
the same things. Now, your pecking order may be different than mine. I don't care. I don't care. But just as long as you're covering all those growths, cover them, right? And all I did, like I have a son. My job was to teach him the same damn thing, right? My son, I've opened a car door for my wife and daughter since the first day I met my wife. It's the first day I brought my wife and daughter home. She's 14. Daddy, I get the door. My son has daughters, does the same thing. My daughter and wife can open the car door by themselves. They're capable and they're confident. But as a man, as a masculine man, my role is I will open a car door or a door for a woman. If a woman tells me no, I'm going to say, no, ma'am, this is how I was brought up. Yeah. I apologize.
Respect, honor,
for being
chivalry.
Respectful for women. Yeah,
Yes.
I am respectful to women. Every now and then you get a woman, I can hold the door of my own. Well, you know what? I'm sure you can. Yep. And when I'm not around, by all means, go ahead and do that. But while I'm around, this is how it's going to be done. I love it. They smile or every now and then you go, but they love it. And you know what, ma'am? I hope you have a wonderful day. You look very nice today. Yep. Hope you have a wonderful day. Who knows what's going on with people.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you and you're welcome are 2 of the most powerful words you can use if you use them correctly and you don't overuse them or mistreat them. Thank you.
There's so much here about self-respect and then respect in general, just a respect for life and humanity.
Yes.
And even circling back all the discipline and everything we're doing for ourselves and for those around us. It just comes from a deep place of respect. Man, it's such a powerful thing. So I want to dive in, brother, if you can share some specifics, because you were just talking about a moment ago, like, hey, look, we got to be disciplined. We got to be on top of our game, as the 6 things you were saying. We got to, as husbands, as fathers, as businessmen, as providers, protectors, all of it. What's working for you, like a day in the life of, or in a week? Like, give us some of your habits, some of your routines, your rituals.
Well, here's what you need to understand. I'm a control freak. Okay. I think successful men, successful men are control freaks. I control what time I go to bed, what time I get up. I control what I do when I get up, what I eat, what I drink. I control that I'm going to work out every 6 days a week. I control what I put in my body for food. Now, and I have a regimen. Now, there's things I can't control. When I get in the car, I can't control if somebody's going to hit me. I can't control if I'm going to have enough sales. So what I try to do to be successful is I try to control what I can. And that's these things, right? My morning routine, my physical regimen, my hygiene. The one thing that I do that a lot of men don't do is we all have a calendar. We all have a calendar for work. I have a color coordinated calendar for my family, my fitness, my finance, and my faith.
Nice.
And they're color coordinated to the minute every damn day. Does that change? Yes. But if I get up, I have a plan. I plan my dive. I dive my plan. Will it change? Yes.
Yep.
But getting up going, what am I going to do today? Nope. I get up. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to have my coffee. I have my oatmeal. I'm going to go hit the gym. Or excuse me, I go to the gym. Then I hit my oatmeal. Come back. Emails are going out. Boom, boom, boom. Have a little bit of time. Spend a little time with my wife. Ask her how her workout was. We have about 20 minutes where we just kind of talk about our day, which she's going to do what I'm going to do. And we split. And then I go earn my keep for the family. And she goes and does her amazing mom stuff. I make sure that she has time to go out and have lunch with the girls. She's actually having dinner with the girls tonight. I make sure that I try to go out with my wife, with my daughter once a week. And that I at least try to call. And the big thing that I do, go ahead.
So a weekly date with your wife and a weekly date with your daughter? Trying to squeeze that in? Fantastic.
Of course, I get it. And here's the date. Like I said, a date. Let's say it's a hectic week and I can't do it. We'll go take our Chihuahua for a 2-mile walk and we just talk.
Just talk.
A date doesn't have to be spending money.
Yep.
A date is being disconnected from the rest of the world. Whether it's dinner, it's dancing, we go on vacations, we do things. So that's just what we do. And that's what I work on. I lay my clothes out the night before. That kind of tells me, I don't want to get up and, no, I'm not going to wear that. My daughter does that. No, this is what I'm wearing. It's laid out. You know how much time I just saved? What I try to do is control as much time as I can because time is the most precious resort we have.
Absolutely.
So case in point, I usually sleep 6 hours a day, 6-7 hours a day. So that gives me 15 to 16 hours to do two things, kick ass or get my ass kicked. And I honestly think from the minute I get up, I've already got the jump on things. I get up grateful, not greedy. I have my saying that I say every morning to myself. Sorry, but it's be great today, be a bitch tomorrow. Like I'm going to be the best I can today, and tomorrow I'm just going to punk out, bitch out. My wife says, I may not always win, but I'll never lose because in our family, what we're taught is you only win and learn. You only lose if you quit.
Yes.
And my daughter says, I'm a champion. I'm a winner.
Yep.
And the thing is men, if you have children, if you have a wife, if you don't have a daily mantra that you believe in about yourself, what the hell are you doing? Like, I don't know. Do you have children?
Yeah. 7.
7?
Yeah.
So you have both boys and girls, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So, I'd rather my daughter get up and say, I'm going to be a strong, independent woman than I'm going to be in a relationship and I'm going to be abused and I'm going to be a beta woman.
Right. And I'm nobody and I'm stupid and just my luck.
Right.
And
because if you're
that
not
garbage.
saying anything, if you're not telling them what they should be programming themselves as, then who the hell is?
Yep.
That's the question. Is it bullying at school? Is it this? So every day, what are you? I have a video that I'm a champion. I'm a winner. Darn right you are.
Yeah.
My wife says that. Mine's a little more, but that's mine. Be great today. Be a bitch tomorrow. I'm going to get up and I'm going to give it everything I have because all I have to do is give it for 16 hours.
Right.
And then I'm going to go to sleep. And then tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to just relax. Guess what I do when I get up? I hit the repeat button. Boom. I get up again and I do it again. And I think if more people started being more grateful about what they have versus greedy of what they want, because it'll come, right? If you focus on the family, the fitness, the finance, the faith, the finance will come. The physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual, the financial will come.
Yep.
The problem is we put the wrong stuff in the wrong order and we neglect the things that are important. Some of the most successful men I know make millions of dollars and ask them about their relationship and they've got a $12 relationship with their family.
Exactly.
I'm right.
Yeah.
So
well, let me ask something here because I know I'm thinking about it. And I know the listeners are gonna be thinking about it, like because you'll push yourself and you'll push your limits hard. Like when you get to this place where you don't feel like doing things. Because I know there's a lot of guys, them too, right? We talk to them and they're like, yeah, I know I should do that, but dadgumma, I was discouraged. I wasn't motivated. I didn't feel like doing it. I wasn't feeling great. In that moment, where does your strength and power come from, brother? Because I know Well, I want to know if you feel those anymore, or you just
Oh,
move
of
past
course,
them.
man. There's days I don't want to get up. Of course, there's days I don't want to go to the gym. There's days I had to swim. I had to go train to go swim across the damn Hudson River. I didn't want to do that. I'm 50 years old. But what I do is I go to myself. I'm like, what kind of example am I setting for my children? What kind of example am I setting for my wife? Hell, what kind of example am I setting for when I look in the mirror?
Yeah.
And I do that, you know, because people ask me, you know, Ray, you were a Navy SEAL. What's the trick? There's only 2 tricks. Number 1, don't quit. Number 2, hopefully you don't get too injured, but that still falls under thing. But people are like, well, where did you find your strength from? It's easy. All I would do is whenever I got ready to think about quitting something, I would imagine seeing a picture of me with a red line going through it that said quitter. And then, yeah, and that hurts. And then one day knowing that I would marry a woman that looks like that and then have beautiful children. And then my son, I said, oh my God, what would I do if I ever have a son and he asked me, did you ever want to be a Navy SEAL? Tell him I quit.
What would you say exactly?
So my thing is listen, there are a lot of men that get injured and it's just not for them. I got no problem with that. But quitting is not my vocabulary. And I'm not, you know, people are like, oh, easy to say. It really is. How do you quit quitting? Never start. Well, what if you've done it before? Don't do it again. People are like, it can't be that easy. Yes, it can. You can quit smoking. You can quit drinking. You can get help to get off of drugs, porn addiction. There are ways to get off of things,
Yep.
but it only starts when you take acceptance that you have an issue.
Yep.
Because men don't do that. I was the king of it. No, I do that because of him and her, him. No, I do it because of me. And it's a slap to the face to some, and some men aren't ready for it. And some men may never be. But when you take ownership of the discrepancies or the downfalls or the vices that you may have in your life, and you accept them and realize that I don't want to be this guy.
Yeah.
You know, and you start asking for external help. You know, I've asked people who've been there and done that. Bedros and I have a lot in common. And when a man comes to a man and he, with all sincerity, goes, listen, I've got this problem going on. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you did too, and you got through it. Yeah. Brother, I need your help. Like, I don't know what to do. I will stop everything I'm doing and go, okay, yep, this is what worked for me. This may not work for you, but let's try this first. If this doesn't work, well, damn it, we're going to find something else. Yep. Because my goal is to make a difference with every human being. You know, I'm especially, obviously, pro vet. You know, my goal in life, people ask me, is what do I want to do? I want to make it so that no veteran ever kills himself again. That would be my goal. Ever again. Ever go. Now, for my personal goal, I want to be the next Jack LaLanne. I say that all the time too. People laugh at me. I want to be 83 years old in a jumpsuit, pulling shit with my teeth, doing amazing things, right? That's what I want to do. You know, people don't know that Jack LaLanne was a very accredited chiropractor. I mean, I know all about him. He's an amazing human being, right? He was very educated, but he was a beast. Because the reason why he was a beast is because he believed that there was nothing he couldn't do. That's the mentality I took. There's nothing I can't do.
Huge. So, man, I got to point out and just emphasize a couple of things you said that were so profound. And maybe you understood the psychology of it at the time, or maybe you've learned it since. But like what you did early on is like you envisioned a lot of pain, like seeing yourself with loser or quitter across, you know, the identity of quitter, right? Tons of pain there. Or what would I tell my son if he asked? And then envision the pleasure, the wife and the daughter and the success and what you can achieve. And like the profound psychology there is so important that each of us, like, and everybody listening, just internalize, like, set yourself up to see the pain if you keep going down this path, if you don't make those changes, if you don't level up, and the pleasure if you do. Well, and let both sides motivate you and drive you.
I'm Shmi, subject matter expert. I'm not a growth expert. I'm a pain expert. Now I've had a very jaded past, and I've had a very bad childhood. And I've experienced more pain than most, and I hope that most ever will. And all I've done is learn how to profit from pain. Pain equals growth, growth equals power, power equals knowledge, and knowledge equals profit. Profit is not from a monetary standpoint. Like, profit to me is creating growth.
Yeah.
Things that happen to me as a child, I don't do to my children.
Right.
Things that happen to my wife, right? We will not let happen. But because of our past, my wife is a stay-at-home mom for a reason, because I don't trust people with my children. So men have that inner voice, right, which can turn into that inner bitch, that right, the inner dialogue, right? 60,000 thoughts, 48,000 of them are negative, usually with your family, fitness, finance, faith. But then men also carry on this shoulder their toxic cognitions, their demons, right? Trauma. If enough bad things have happened to you, two things are either going to happen. You're either going to figure out how to try to, and again, you can't kill. Like if you had horrible things done to you as a child, a lot of men try to kill that. Forget it. You can't. What I do is I name, claim, and tame it. I name, claim, and tame that beast, because that PTSD is a beast. Yeah. When I claim it, like perfect example, if I'm driving, there's certain things that will trigger something from my past. I will not drive down that road or be around that smell or anything to make sure I avoid it. But what most people try to do is they think that they can kill that, and they can't. And that's like alcoholism, right? I have friends that are alcoholics that I don't drink around, and then other ones that I can have a drink around. But I respect them enough where if he's like, if I have a guy that's like, man, he's on the verge and he's doing good. Hey man, I've been sober 200 days.
No drinks.
I can go out and have a drink with you. That's fine. Yeah, I'm fine, man. And there's other guys who are like, yeah. And if I do that, it's, you sure? Yeah. And they're good, but I don't put it around their face. I'm not, so you have to know the limitations of you and others in your life. And when you do that, that's how you create that growth. And to be quite honest with you, anybody that I know that's been a past alcoholic, I just don't drink in front of them. My buddy's like, oh man, I'm past it. I'm good. I'm like, yeah, you know what? If I was a whatever, like if I wouldn't want that just out of respect. So I just respect people. I think, respect is what the world needs more of.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I'm glad you brought that up. It's so important for us to be processing what has happened. So I was out on my own at 16, right? Parent broke families, went through some tough things, and looking back and learning to see it differently, and to get profit from it, benefit. What can I learn? How am I better because of it? How can I change? How can I make a contribution to the world, be a better man because of it? It's taking something that was so painful and making it powerful for the better. So thanks for bringing that up, brother. Yeah. What are you chasing? Like what right now are you personally, what are you interested in? What are you studying? What are you going after? What's something that you're hungry for?
It's such a cliche, just making a bigger impact with the things I'm doing, trying to make better father-son connections, trying to give back to the community. I don't know. I think the word would just be a bigger audience, more of an impact. I think if I can get my message out to more people, I want to be contagious, right? I want to be the poison ivy of positivity. That's what I want to be, man. It's just what I want to be. Yes. David Goggins says negativity is the most contagious thing. And I don't agree. I mean, because perfect example, right? I think quitting would be the most thing, right? So imagine you were going to start insulting me. Get ready to insult me. Go ahead. Just say something. Ready? I quit. See how easy it is to quit? Quitting is the most contagious thing. But I say, why don't we make positivity? Why not walk into a room and just, again, motivation gets you up. Discipline gets it done. All I want to do is motivate people enough to start creating self-discipline, right? Just carve out little blocks, little tasks that you can do daily, monthly, weekly, monthly, annually. Just task, little micro task, and do it. And once you get it done, find another one. Yeah. So that's what I want to do. And I want to make more people grateful for the life that they've been given, even if they feel like they've been given a shit hand. If you're alive and you have your health, you're doing better than a lot of other people. I'm dealing with this right now. My father-in-law, God bless him. He's one of the greatest men I've ever met. And he's dealing with leukemia. And it kills me to see a man who's given, he's done so much, and he's got a great heart. And he's a big man too, how weak he is right now. And it frustrates me, because then you'll see people that are extreme evil that live till they're 100 years old. And then my father-in-law is 70. It's like this man has been a pillar of just positivity his entire life. And it's like, these are the things that I question. These are the things that I have the internal conflict with. Like, why him? Why, and it's these, if I could answer these questions, I would be probably the most successful man on the planet, but I can't. And I don't, that's the problem I don't understand is, you have men that do so good and, and he's still with us, but he's not doing well. And it infuriates me.
And it's a good reminder, brother. My wife and I, right after we got married, we watched my father-in-law struggle with cancer and fight it, and then pass. And man, it was such a great reminder for us and he was 47. 47, man. So to see that, I'm like, man, we get one shot to be the positive force for good, right? So our family mantra is just like, let's be a great force for good in the world. And you're right, and be that positivity and bring that energy and that light and share it. And I love, you got a book coming out, which is awesome.
So I got a book coming out. It's going to be called Cash Rules. As of right now, the projected date is going to be September 17th. I will give you guys a spoiler alert. It's not about me being a Navy SEAL. It's a life lessons and a coaching book. It's a very unique book. It's done. There's things in this book that you've never seen in a book before. You're going to need your phone for this book. There's going to be you need your pencil for it's a me book. It's just a crazy balls to the wall, in your face book. I'm really proud of it. And I can't wait. I have an amazing publicist and we're going to be launching it here soon, and we'll see, It's not a look at me, I'm awesome. It's look at all the stuff I've done wrong to get to where I am now.
And what we can all do and learn from it. That's awesome, bro.
I hope so. I hope, like I said, man, all I try to do is, if you can learn, I speak, I do public speaking, I do all these amazing things. You can just take 1 second of something that I taught and use it in the future, then that's success for me.
Yep. That's a win. That's it. Exactly. That's beautiful. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. So many great principles here. So many great lessons. Any last thoughts? If you got the audience here, any last things, words of advice or lessons, any last thing you want to share of like, what's the big takeaway? What really matters?
Yeah, I think the lesson, the takeaway is just believe in yourself. If you have a goal and you have a dream, don't let anybody or anything deter you from what you want to do. I mean, if I would have listened to everybody, I would have probably been dead or in jail. You are a book, right? I don't believe a book, and the pages are blank for a reason. You get to write the story. You want it to be a horror story, or they lived happily ever after, right? There's always going to be a villain. There's always going to be a hero in the book. Be the hero, conquer the villain, whatever that may be in life, and live happily ever after. And that's what I'm doing with my book, and every week that I get up, it's just another chapter of the book. Monday's my favorite day. I love Mondays. Like, let's go. People are like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're doing it because if you're living for the weekends, you're living the wrong way.
Yeah, you're missing out, man.
I don't live for the weekends. I live for the Mondays. Like, what's next, man? What can we do? Yeah, weekends are fun, but I do date night with my wife during the week. Yeah. Everybody else relies on the weekends. No, carve out time during your busy schedule to do something with your family during the week. Exactly. Weekends are just days to me, man. That's all they are. Beautiful. I hate weekends. I have to do more chores than anything else. And Sunday,
you're right, man. Get up on Monday and make a difference in the world. Leave an impact. Get things done. Write your own story. I love that, brother. I love that. All right, where can people connect with you, man? Where can they find you? I know you're on Instagram.
Instagram, Ray Cash Care. I got the blue check, so make sure it's legit because there's some fake ones out there, weirdos. You can hit me at raycashcare.com if you're interested in any of booking me for anything. And then I'm on LinkedIn. I just use Cash Care because I think there's another Ray Cash, so just Cash Care. Hit me up. I answer every single DM and booking request that I have. Okay.
Boom. Awesome, brother. Thank you. Thank you for like living out the example, right? Of taking what you were handed, the cards you were dealt, and living a life that's worth sharing, and the lessons you're doing and the impact you're having in the world. Like, this isn't adulation or anything, but it's like, it's
Yeah.
honor to you for the things you're doing, and that you have something to share, and it's born of
Still work in
experience.
progress though, right? No such thing as
Right.
perfection, only progression. So
Yep.
my wife might tell you a different story, but that's a whole different conversation.
I love it. Thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.